You're welcome back. On my take today, I say, let's keep faith in the judiciary, our safety valve. Keeping faith in the judiciary, our safety valve. I've had a special session of my weekly legal clinic, The Law, the last 2 Sundays. The show airs Sunday 2 p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Monday 11 a.m. The Chief Justice and Judicial Service gave us one of their very best, and people enjoyed the education about the operations of the courts. Justice Yoni Kolendi of the Supreme Court gave platinum education on the purpose and mandate of the judiciary in a democracy, the qualification of judges and jurisdiction of the district court, circuit, high court of appeal, and the Supreme Court, as well as how they make their decisions. Very important. Justice Kolendi said, quote, "A judge is a decorated servant of the people, exercising trust power, which doesn't belong to the judge or the court, because sovereignty and justice emanate from the people," end quote. Here is a bit of the second interaction I had with him for a special and, for good reasons, an extended Samsons Take.
Look at the way the law, the wisdom in the law, in the way things are structured. So you go to a magistrate, the magistrate is sitting alone. You go to a circuit judge, he's sitting alone. You go to a high court judge, superior court judge, he's sitting alone. The moment you become dissatisfied with a decision of the high court and you protest your dissatisfaction by way of an appeal, so you are going up and you are supposed to be going to judges who are more experienced and more knowledgeable. But for the High Court of Appeal to be a court properly so-called to hear your appeal, minimum 3 of these more knowledgeable judges have to sit together. 2 will not do. It has to be a minimum of 3 or 5. Now, if you were even dissatisfied with the Court of Appeal and you came up to the Supreme Court, and this is supposed to be the apex where the grandmasters of the law sit, you go there, the minimum number of them who can sit down and examine what those 3, the 1 judge did, which went to 3 judges, now is 5. It's a recognition that there can be error, there can be mistakes, but the law provides self-correcting mechanisms that allows those who have the stamina to persist and to push their case, and who find lawyers who have the skill and give attention to detail, etc., to do their work. Criticism is healthy if it's meant to identify lapses, gaps, failings for the improvement of the system. The criticism, in my view, loses legitimacy if it is intended to undermine, to insult, to bring the court and the administration of justice into public ridicule and contempt. Now, that is also because, you see, something, as I said, at the heart, the soul of an administration of justice is public confidence in the impartiality of the judge and the competence of the court to deal with the matter properly. So the moment you articulate your criticism in a way that you are digging down the court's impartiality, the court's competence, and imputing improper motives, etc., to the court, you are not just undermining the court, you are actually undermining the system that we have all agreed on and said this is the way to resolve disputes and misunderstandings amicably. Because imagine that we have another election dispute and the protagonists decide that this time round we are not going to go to the Supreme Court to resolve that matter. Where will we be? You think we'll be sitting in this studio? So, you know, with no disrespect intended, we must all, as stakeholders in the administration of justice, examine our motives and never forget, ask yourself, exactly what am I trying to achieve under the guise of criticism? Otherwise, I have said this time without number, and I'll say it here again, Samson, criticism is a healthy thing. It helps people reflect, look deeper, improve, and do things better. And as I have said, I'm here to see a servant who cannot be criticized by your master.
Right.
And so when judges finish their work, we're given to public commentary and we're given to evaluation, criticism. But that criticism and commentary must be within bounds. The bounds are that you are not under the guise of criticism digging down and bringing down this architecture we have built as a safety valve for society.
In, I think, Republic versus Mensah Bonsu, when the Supreme Court dealt with it, Justice Bamford said criticism of the court, however rambunctious, is not contempt of the court. It should be allowed. Why must we make our criticism measured as if we are still fighting within the courtroom,
but also
and not on radio and not in the public space?
Interesting. I was a pupil in those proceedings, but Bamford actually also then said that when it comes to contempt, the truth is not even a defense.
That's true.
So the criticism, which however rambunctious is not contempt, is the one that is intended to point, if you want, to error, to mistakes, to lapses in the reasoning, the analysis of the facts, the conclusions of the court, without seeking to insult, deride, ridicule, and bring the administration of justice and the court. And you see, I'm very careful. I'm not talking about the judge.
Complete quotation of what I reference has that as well.
Exactly. So I'm not even talking about the judge, because the powers of contempt of the court are not meant to protect the judge. They are meant to protect their court.
There's an obvious and emotional aversion of the judiciary to unanimous FC. If that is the person's choice of how to criticize a decision which has left the court has become functus officio, and the public is entitled to criticize it, why dislike it that much?
I don't think that anyone dislikes unanimous FC. It is the contextual use of the unanimous FC that makes it an applause or an insult or a statement in disdain meant to demean and undermine the judges and their independence when it comes to their judicial thought. When you use that term in the context where you are suggesting that these judges do not have independent judicial minds to make up minds of their own, it is not a positive use of the term. It's a term that is used in a way that will deride the court. Okay, that you suggest that something, I joined the Supreme Court not to express my thoughts and my thinking, and that the oath I took, standing alone and holding the Bible and swearing to God, I did that to go and append myself, just run with somebody's thoughts. Now, why is it that we go from one judge to two, to three to 5, or 7, or 9? The reason is, as the issues get more involved and get thicker and get more contentious, human learning and wisdom is that more heads are better than one. That's the reason why you now, it's as though the system is saying, even though you are more experienced, more knowledgeable, you went through a more rigorous process we can't trust one of you as we did even with the smallest judge. It is because the law in itself has an implicit recognition of shared wisdom and knowledge. In Twi, they say tiku and kojina.
Correct.
You know, and the two heads are always better than one. Now, why must we think that the law put the 3 judges together not to find common ground on what is fair, what is just, what is conscionable, what is the proper construction of the rights of the parties, and resolve the matter in unanimity, but that the law put the 3 together to disagree with each other? It is because of our negativity. And so you are a lawyer. When you pick a decision, that is a collective expression of the shared wisdom unanimously of all the 5 judges. And when you pick one, which is a 3-2 decision, Samson, the law is the law. It doesn't take away from the fact that this is a judgment of the court.
Right.
But when you are citing that decision, it's for purpose that you will never miss the opportunity to say that this is a unanimous decision of this court. Because contra views always show that there's another way one could look at it. And that is very healthy, and the law allows that. But I think it's very subversive of the whole system of a peaceful adjudication of disputes. If we are people who are more welcoming and want to have our highest court made up of elements who are always in disagreement with each other, first of all, when we looked at why we have courts, we say we have courts so courts can give clarity to the law. Is the law clearer when we speak in unison together or when we speak in separate voices? Have you seen a choir that when somebody is singing this way, the other person is shouting the other way? They will produce very good music. So those people who hold this criticism and use unanimous FC in a negative connotation, that's what they are advocating for. But unfortunately for them, I mean, the elements, by the time you get to that level, nobody subjects your views to another. And if you have the conviction and good reason to dissent or disagree, you will do so.
Right.
And you will see that the decisions are replete. I mean, I have had convictions, I've had convictions, I've dissented in decisions, but when I see wisdom, and I see that this is a superior enunciation of the law by some of my colleagues, I must dissent to show that I'm here to disagree with everyone for the sake of disagreeing. That will not be wise. That will not be constructive. That will not be progressive. That's not going to advance the cause of justice. So where there is a need, and something, it will amaze you. Let me give you a peep what happens in a standard, in our normal conference.
So that's where we're going to come to how you arrive at your decisions.
Yes.
And reading Justice Dr. Bayer's book, as you have brought in the studio, gives good education. So how do you come to that? So that we don't, because we are friends, we know each other somehow, we agree that for this case, let's go against this person.
No, it doesn't work like that. Look, Samson, so this is how your servants work. We convene in the conference room. So prior to the conference room, the cases are assigned. So the courts are empaneled, cases are assigned. The dockets and the work is assigned to each judge. And between when you receive this and the hearing, you read, you research, you make up your mind. One way or the other, conclusively or inconclusively. But our pre-sitting conferencing, when you guys are waiting in the conference room, is that we're in that room, and in relation to applications which they don't abide time, is that the routine is of the 5 judges, and as you know, seniority is a very important thing for judges. So when you see us walking, even the way we walk in order of seniority. It's such a protocol of order and due process that we live it. The way we walk in order of seniority. The way we sit in order of seniority.
That's right.
The way we speak in order of seniority. Now, so the most junior judge will be the first to address the case in conference, and we are all round one table with the presiding judge. The most senior presides, who is the president of the court. So, what does my lord so and so? So you will give your sense of your synopsis of the case, the facts, the issues, the law, the evidence, and what conclusion you will reach. You don't know what anybody is thinking and what their positions are.
All right.
Then it goes to the next most senior. We come from bottom up. He says, I don't agree with my brother Kulendi. And on the facts are not A, B, C, D, which doesn't seem to engage his attention. On the legal issues, I will think X, Y, Z is the issue. In terms of the evidence, we saw this, we've seen that. Have you seen this affidavit? Did you pay attention to paragraph so and so? I have looked at the case of so and so, and this is what we decided, X, Y, Z. For these reasons, I don't agree with my brother Kulendi. I would decide differently. Okay. Then it goes to the next judge. He says, I agree with my Lord Kulendi on the facts, or I agree with my Lord so and so on the facts, on the law so and so. I also think A, B, C, D. Moreover, I think X, Y, Z. In any event, if you look at this and you look at that and you look at that, I am more inclined to agree with my brother Samson and on this point. Samson, you already have 2-1 in the bag. Then it goes to the next person. The next person says A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. In fact, I always laugh at the president is supposed to be the most senior and the most powerful. If you are not lucky, by the time it gets to the president, the votes are cast one way or the other. Now, there are occasions you are unable to agree. And you see that it's a more involved argument and issues. And it's getting hotter. So we'll agree, we'll come out. That's when we adjourn. And then we'll set a date for judgment conference where everyone then prepares. And you come back to reiterate your positions. Sometimes we'll agree to exchange drafts.
Right.
So put those who think this way, put this in writing. Those who
That's how come someone will say, I have seen my brother, I have seen my sister.
And I agree or I disagree.
Okay.
I mean, we've held positions and then, look, and then you change your mind and say, no, I'm no longer of this position. We've even had experiences. I've had experiences where, I mean, you are tasked to write, or I offered to write. After I wrote, another colleague says, I'll write a concurring opinion, etc., etc. So he is writing the concurring opinion to support mine. When I saw his concurring opinion, I thought that it was a more elegant, succinct, and superior enunciation of the law than what I was putting forward as the lead opinion. I stepped down and said, no, we should use this opinion as the lead opinion. That's the kind of environment in which we work. Now, Samson, at that level, nobody goes there to go and subordinate your ideas and your thinking to another judge. I went to the court all these years. I learned practice. I took this oath I call of poverty because I want to serve. I want to create a legacy. I'm going to do. You're not going to achieve that by going to follow unexamined ideas because, look, as you know, we read judgments and decisions that were written many, many years ago. And even as law students from first year, you start criticizing the judges and their work.
That's right.
That's the kind of future that awaits us. So we don't take the responsibility lightly at all. Now, will judges have inclinations, motives, interests, etc., etc.? Of course, because judges are human beings. That's why in some jurisdictions, if they strip you bare, they want to know. I was asked what my what judicial philosophy is. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not a slave to any of these schools of thought. For me, at the end of the day, the ends of justice are that the outcome must be fair, it must be conscionable, it must be equitable, and it must be just. I have enough common sense not to think that judicial work is a safe sanctuary, that we don't have people with the wrong motives who have wormed themselves into judicial office, right from the court clerk to the messenger to the bailiff to the registrar to judges. You can't speak for everyone. And you know, our society is very incestuous. I always say Ghana is like a compound house. So the man who bribes the judge tells his wife tells his neighbor, they tell another person, and they assume that maybe every judge can be bribed. But what I can tell you for sure is that much as they may be bad, there are bad nuts amongst us, who hopefully in the course of time we will find out. Some may find the kitchen too hot for them, but there are also very genuinely people who believe in the cause of justice,
right,
and will do everything to ensure. They may make a mistake,
right,
but it is not for some.
Whatever we do in our criticism of the courts, let's keep one thing Justice Kolendi said in mind. Quote, courts actually provide a glue to a stable society, end quote. And that is my special and extended take, thanks to my production team and those behind this. It's been titled, Keeping Faith in the Judiciary, Our Safety Valve. We'll take a quick break, we'll return, and we have all the time to see if this lithium contract is a giveaway.